Hey, my name's Sean. Welcome to Echoes in Eternity Bourbon. Today, this is a video I've been looking forward to making for a long time. This kind of spurred with the thought that people taste things and experience things differently, and even sometimes in different days. And so, what I wanted to do was not this bourbon drop that happened yesterday, but the one last month. I wanted to get 12 samples of bourbons out to people for blinds, so they can give me their thoughts on them. How they enjoyed them, didn't enjoy them. What were the price points on them? Would they buy it again or not? Things like that. And I specifically targeted the group that participated in this because I know these people hunt bourbon. I mean, the one thing about the walk-ups for Alabama drops, you have specific mindsets on bottles that you want to get, and you've researched them, you understand them. And the people that are part of this are usually people that'll camp out overnight just for an opportunity to get one or two good bottles at MSRP. So I wanted some hardcore people that enjoy bourbon to go into this to give me their honest thoughts on things. And so I thought it was a lot of fun on my end, just to have a group of people that I knew enjoyed bourbon, were willing to sacrifice some time to get some different bourbons and things like that, to give me some feedback on it, on some of the things that I may or may not have enjoyed. There's three bottles in here that, to myself, I wouldn't buy again, but I wanted to get, would they buy them again? What were their thoughts on them? And there were some bottles in here that I really liked, and I thought, I wonder what these people think of these bottles as well. So that's kind of the cool part about a true blind. And I know it was a lot. I mean, these went 12 different 2 ounce pours to check it out. And people have lives. Some people are working and working two jobs, or they have a lot going on in their life, but they gave me their time for this and their thoughts and their feedback. And for you four, I truly appreciate it. Really, really cool. Got some neat stories. Got some great pictures. One of the pictures that will be the picture of this is one person took a picture of all 12 of the 2 ounce pours together, just to kind of show how diverse some of the, just even the colors are on some of these. And so it kind of gives you a nice snapshot of the different bottles that they had, and what they had to look for and grade on and things like that. And I didn't make the grading super hard, just 1 to 10. What do you think on it? Would you buy it again? Yes or no? Did you think it was a whiskey or a rye? If give me some of your additional thoughts on what you thought of it. And some of these are pretty funny. So I definitely enjoyed that. So it was good, and it's neat to see the range that people have on some of these. So that was really cool. Some of the bottles, the samples got to go to a wedding. Some of the samples got to make it to Disneyland. I thought that was pretty cool too. So some neat stories there behind it as well. But what I wanted to do is I kind of compiled all the notes. And what I wanted to do is, I guess, I graded them all based on their numerical response on what they thought the bottle was. And then what I'll do is I'll kind of say, okay, this is, out of the 12 bottles, this is bottle number 12. Give a little bit of feedback about what the bottle is, what I kind of thought about it, and get some of the different notes and see some of the variation on here. So we'll go ahead and get started. The first bottle is actually, which came in number 12, which really kind of surprised me because I liked it a lot. Was Three Chords. This is a 12-year barrel proof. Comes in at, let's see what we got here, 107 proof. This is the 12 bar. Yeah, it came in at number 12. I really like the three chord. But you can see on here, and what I did is I kind of put them all together. This came in with the lowest score, and this is a combined score of about a 15.4, which was a little bit less than a 4, which would make it a below average bourbon for these people that went ahead and tested this. They all agreed it was a whiskey. Most people said they would not buy it again. I had one that said they would buy it again. Um, The scores were probably the most varying of all the scores. Well, except for maybe the last one here, but there I had ratings of a 1, a 3, a 4, and then a 7.4. So one person, really liked this. I really liked it, but three other people were like, no. Notes on this: terrible, 0 stars, would not recommend to a friend. Tastes like grain cereal, ethanol, and smoke. But then the person that really liked it says, very good, great finish on this. And it's funny how you get that diversity and how they roll in between on things on that. So I thought that was pretty interesting and pretty cool. And I guess we'll try to find a place to set these down and get them off the table to unclutter a little bit as we go. The second bottle, let's see what we got here. Union Horse Reserve, and this is a barrel shop. I'm sorry, this is a bottle shop store pick. I think this was $49.99. It's 120 proof. It's a single barrel. So also got some different diversity on this. Got 3 threes, which are showing below average, and 1 7.7. I thought this was a good bottle for $49.99. One person thought it was a rye. Everybody else kind of thought it was a bourbon. I got somewhat sweet, apple juice and honey, medium finish. And this is a person that rated it really low, either low proof or very smooth high proof. This is 120 proof. So, I mean, it's very smooth. The person that liked it said, hey, this has a really nice long finish to it, and I would pay $80 for this. So it's neat that these are 4 people that would that hunt bourbons and hunt them pretty hard. And you've got such a change. One person just absolutely loved it, and everybody else is like, this isn't my thing. But even one of the people that said this isn't my thing said, this has got to be really low proof, and this is 120 proof. So you can get things that drink way under proof, and I mean $49.99 barrel select. I enjoyed this. I thought it was a good bottle. I'm kind of in semblance with somebody else, but the majority of people didn't care for this bottle, and there's nothing wrong with that. I have my palate and they have theirs. All I can do is tell you how I experience things, and you'll find that some people have a lot closer palate than you do. So I thought that was pretty neat on Union Horse. Number 10. This is one of the bottles that I haven't done a review on. I'm not big on bashing, but this is a bottle that I wouldn't buy again. Now, it doesn't mean that they won't have other offerings, which I find very good or outstanding. But this is a bottle that didn't do it for me. And this was John Emerald, and this is a local. Bourbon for us. Actually, this one here is the double wooded rye whiskey. For me, it was kind of off-putting. This is right down the road in Opelika, Alabama. I have a lot of confidence that some of their other products just maybe are more my profile. This just wasn't me. So at number 10, so let's see what we got here. I think the high score on this was a 6, which one person said was above average. 2 said it was right at average or below average. One rated this a 2. They got split on this. Some people thought it was a whiskey. Some people thought it was a rye. This is a double oaked rye. Comments on this: vegetal aroma and flavor, reminds me of a charcuterie board. Olives specifically. Alcohol heat is almost non-existent. And so this isn't what, a 90, 86 proofer. So yeah, there's not a whole lot of alcohol to this. It does have some different flavors that aren't in the profile that I like. Anyone knows I kind of like sweeter things. I think it was kind of nailed right on with kind of the charcuterie board type of thing. It's just kind of all over the map for me. And it's one that I wouldn't purchase again. But I wouldn't tell you don't ever try it, because your palate could really like this. But it's not something that I enjoy. It's not something that I plan to reach for again. It's something that I'm sure that when I have people that come over and they want to try a local brand, I'll pull out my ASWs, I'll pull out my 13th Colony, and I'll say, hey, this is right down the road. This isn't my thing, but it might be your thing, and you want to try it out. But that there being John Emerald, I've got a couple others that I'm going to try. Looking forward to those in the future. I do suspect that they'll be better for this. This just was not my jam. And what's kind of ironic and funny on this is the first 3 bottles were the lowest rated ones that we had. which means that maybe, when people went into it, and it's just hypothetical, maybe when people went into it, they were like, I'm really expecting something to blow my socks off, and it didn't. So I'm going to start grading on this right away. And maybe it course corrected over time, or it could be that first three ones people just didn't like. Nothing wrong with that. Number nine, this one kind of surprised me, but it's funny too because you can really tell a lot about who enjoys the rise versus who didn't enjoy the rise. Found out one person just not a huge rye fan. I'm like, okay. Found the other person that I would consider a rye fan really, really like this bottle. I really, really like this bottle. But that's the fun part about it is you'll find different palettes and different notes that hit people with different. So come number nine is the Resurgent Rye. This is a cask strength, I want to say. Yeah, this is coming in 122.8. I really like the Resurgent Rye. This is one that I got when I was at the guys trip in April, and we went to ASW. Me and my two buddies actually really liked this a lot, and I ended up getting two bottles of this. But the ratings on this are pretty funny. So I've got one person that gave it a 0.3, not even a one, a 0.3. Another person gave it a 4 under, but then there's two people that gave it above average scores. One being a 6, and their answers were pretty funny. So, and the last person being an 8, and that person I know is a rye person, and they hit it and they said, yeah, this one's on point for me. So, of all of them, this probably had the most diversity in comments. So, number 9 coming in with Resurgent Rye. First comment is, what the hell is this? It took me 3 times to decide if I liked it, but I think I do. I'm guessing it's some sort of finished whiskey, not sure what it's finished in. And this is not a finished whiskey, this is a rye. One person that rated this as a 4 said, this is a mixer. I'm like, oh man, that kind of hit my heart because I really like this. The person that I figured out is not a rye person who gave this the lowest score of all was the 0.3. Drain pour, rather die sober, rather drink. And I had to clean this comment up a little bit. So, he may recognize part of the comments, but not all of it. I cleaned it up a little bit, but it says, rather drink light beer in a meat Speedo in a swamp full of alligators. That's pretty rough right there. But my rye drinker was like, man, this is sweet and spicy. I really enjoy this. And I'm right there with the rye drinker on this. I've found that I do enjoy bourbons, I do enjoy ryes, and I do enjoy wheats. But I was a fan of this. But, two people, especially one person, would rather pour this down the drain than serve it to somebody, or even walk around with a meat Speedo in a swamp. So that's pretty rough right there. But it's the fun part about it is you get to see the diversity that people have on different tastes. So that was pretty cool. But I was kind of shocked that Resurgence Rye came in that low. I think that 0.3 had something to do with it. But I'll have to remember in the future, if I'm doing rye versus a whiskey, that person probably does not need to be involved in rye. Coming in at number 8, and this is another one too that I thought it was really neat, is that you can really separate your whiskey drinker from your rye whiskey. And this is the Mr. B's Barrel Rye. And this is a 125 proof on a rye. I really like the Barrel Rye from Mr. B's, but I tend to like ryes. So at number 8, the Barrel Rye, we got some differential in opinion here. I've got one that rated it as a 10, and that was my rye drinker. My rye drinker said, this is a 10. I like this. My non-rye drinker was like, this is a 2. So you really kind of shot, you kind of tore it down there. And the other two, I got one that's a 5.5, and I got another that's a 5 that they're like, yeah, this is middle of the pack. So you can kind of see if you're a rye person, this is probably something that you might really enjoy. If you're just a whiskey drinker, it doesn't matter if it's bourbon or if it's rye or if it's wheat, this might be your, this is like this might be middle of the road. If you're not a rye person, this is not your thing. So one thing that I thought was really interesting on this is that one of the comments, and this is what I thought when I drank this too, is, and this person is a very seasoned drinker. It says, this drinks like a lower proof rye, and this is 125 proof. So it does drink under proof. Um, Grain and spice flavors. I got one person that says, meh, no finish, but 104 proof. So there's two people that have come in and said this is low proof, or this is drinking under proof by about 20 proof points. My rye drinker really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. But it just wasn't for some other people. But it does show you that too. For me, a lot of times a sign of a good whiskey, whether it's a bourbon or rye, wheat, is how does it drink? If you're drinking this straight and it's drinking under proof, to me that says a lot about it too. So I was it's fun to watch kind of where some of your rye drinkers go on some of these and stuff. So I thought that was pretty neat too. Number 7. This was one that I won't buy again, but what was strange about this is that some other people really enjoyed it. I won't purchase this Garrison Brothers again, and it's not because I'm not going to drain pour or anything like that. It's just it doesn't fit me. It's not my jam. It's not something. And there may be some other Garrison Brothers out there that are outstanding. For me, it's not just me. It's not something I'm interested in. But some other people, they gave it pretty high scores. 3 people rated this above average. One person gave it a 2. Um, so for me, it just wasn't my jam. Looking at it, which was strange, is a lot of people thought this was a rye, and it's not a rye. This is a bourbon whiskey, coming in at 94 proof. And I suspect it's probably the mosquito or whatever's in it that kind of gives it that spice that people think that maybe this is a rye. But it came in at number 7. It's got a 23 overall score, which means that at 24 you're a 6 or greater for the 4. So it's just below above average on this. They would say it's an average, almost above average, but they did enjoy it. Um, Another unique flavor profile. Reminds me of something the guys at Barrel would experiment with. It might be a rye, or maybe unique flavors just playing tricks on my palate. And I think that that's neat. Is the unique flavor in this is maybe messing with the palates. You're not really capturing what this is. Another comment for the person that didn't enjoy this, and I'm the one that I didn't enjoy this too much. And like I said, it's not bad, but I wouldn't buy it again. And they put do not buy, weird, bad. So they have definitely a strong opinion on this. Um, so Garrison Brothers, like I said, is one of the 3 that I would not purchase again, or hunt for. They may have some other offerings that are very good out there. For me, it wasn't anything that I was too interested in. And I actually got this from somebody as an open. They were like, "Hey, you want to try this out?" It just, and I said, "Yeah, I'll try it out." And I was kind of the same opinion with them on that. I just didn't feel it. It's not something that I think the words they used were exactly perfect. It's not something I reach for. It's not something that I say, oh, this is going to be interesting tonight. I want to try some of this and see what I get different maybe out of this today. Just wasn't my thing. All right, so now we're getting into the better half of things. And so this one's coming in at number 6, which is pretty good, and I enjoyed this. This was the Rebel Cask Strength. This is a store pick from the bottle shop. I tend to like bottle shop store picks. I think they do a very good job with things. Definitely enjoyed this. They put so we got 1, 2 on this, but the other 3 scores were above average. We got a 6, a 7, and an 8.1, but 1, 2. I got some that would purchase it again, some that wouldn't purchase it again. On the negative parts of this, didn't seem to have much flavor on the palate, slightly bitter, nose simply smelled of alcohol, POS finish. Okay, that's pretty strong words on there. I tend to like this. I thought it was a good bourbon for me. It was sweeter. I got some comments on this. It kind of has an older oak flavor to it. Got some sweetness to it. But this came in at number 6, so this is kind of like right in the middle of the 12 samples. So I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. As you see, we're coming in on our top 5 up here, but it just shows you still, even in the number 6 spot, you've got one person giving it a 2. It just wasn't their jam. 3 of the people really enjoyed it, thought it was above average. One person was like, "This is not me." I thought that was pretty interesting, but I definitely enjoyed the Rebel. Definitely enjoyed the Rebel. All right, coming in at number 5, and this one's pretty consistent scores all across. There was one that was midway 5.1, but then there was a 6, and then 2 7. So once you start hitting 7s and 8s, you're getting in pretty good air up there. This was above average for them, and this was Redwood Empire. This was their cask strength rye. This is the Emerald Giant. What does this come in at proof on here? So this is, my eyes are bad this morning. Is that 50.2 or 58.2? I think it's 116. Yeah, it's 116.4, so it's 58.2 proof. And it's funny because a lot of people peg this as a whiskey, but this is in fact a rye. The rye drinker right off the bat got that one. I think that was the only person that may have said it was a rye. Some of the comments on this are, is it 120 plus proof? So it's right at 116.4. Floral, someone put it drinks very, very hot. One of the better ones tasted thus far, slightly sweet caramel, smooth with little ethanol presence. So you've got one person saying, this drink's hot. And I think the comment they used was, it reminds me of 1792 Foolproof, which I think is a hot drinker. But they said, this reminds me of that. It's very hot up front. And another person says, I'm getting little ethanol. It's very smooth for me. Got some nice sweet flavors to it. My rye drinker picked that this was a rye right off the bat, and they really enjoyed it as well. So, like I said, you've got some people, these are experienced people that drink bourbon, and they'll be like, I think this is more of a bourbon than it is a rye. And other people think it drinks hot. And it's really, your palate changes quite a bit sometimes, even during, days or weeks. Is your first pour of the day? Is it your second pour of the day? Stuff like that. And so you will get some different changes in the way you taste things. But this came in at number 5. Very excited about that where it kind of landed. It's kind of funny that you still get that the difference of opinion, but things are tightening up a little bit on it now. So coming in at number 4, this is one that I wouldn't buy again. But it's what's so interesting about this is just because it doesn't fit my flavor profile. A lot of people on here really, really enjoyed this. I mean, I got 1 average score and 3 above average scores. 1 at a 6, 1 at a 7.3, and 1 at an 8. And this is a bottle where other people have, other YouTube people have come on and said, this is their hidden gem. This is something that they really like. And this is a $31.99 bottle. This is the Legion, coming in at number 4. For me, it just didn't hit the bells and whistles. And I let's see what this comes in at. So this comes in at 94 proof. And it could be the proof point that maybe it does it for me. I know I like to drink things that have more proof to them. And if you don't have a lot of proof, you better have a lot of complexity. Doesn't say that, it's not saying that this doesn't, it just didn't hit the bells and whistles for me. But a lot of people really like the Legion, which I thought it was, it's nice and surprising. I got the another smooth drinker, hint of spice. Someone said perhaps a rye. So some people were saying whiskey, some people were saying rye on this. Vanilla, thick mouthfeel. It's funny, my rye drinker and I were kind of, he didn't care for it very much. He's the one that gave it a 5, but he's like, he wanted to know if this was a bottle shop, Jack Daniels. Did not care for it. Lacked the finish. But other people really thought it was very good, above average. Like I said, this is a bottle that I wouldn't buy again just based on it didn't hit certain things for me. It didn't, it's not something I'll go back to, not something I'm interested in, but a lot of other people liked it. So I'm gonna leave that out here because that's part of another project. If you can tell, I got some other bottles out here for that. But it's not something that I'd go and I'd search again. But I'm telling you that some people that really like bourbon and know bourbon, they really like it. And I can go to Maple Party Shop today, pick it up for $31.99, and maybe it's a great ad for your bar if you're starting a bar. Some people really enjoy this. It's not overpowering on the proof. It's got some good flavors to it. Other people really, really like it. Just I don't. They're not. I'm not saying it's bad. I just don't care for it. It's not something I reach for. So Legion coming in at number 4 on that. So very nice for the Legion. It kind of, you know, other people that have talked about this, they've said that this is kind of their hidden gem. Maybe it is for them. Maybe I just suck. I don't know. It's just not my thing. Coming in at number 3, this is really cool. Traverse City. This is a barrel proof rye. This is coming in at 111.4. So when you're kind of getting in good air up here, you got 1.5, got a 6, got a 7.1, and got a 10. My rye drinker really nailed this one. Really loved this one right off the bat. Sweet on the nose, tastes of vanilla with floral aftertaste, mint maybe. Good sipper. I'm definitely agreeing with all these. I really, really like the Traverse City. I did get some of the mint in there as well. I think that it's a very good drinker. I got a lot of people that said yes, they would buy this again. Um, got some people that thought it might have been a whiskey. I mean, this is a rye, but sometimes you get ryes that just are really super smooth and drink really well. I would say 13th Colony Rye does a real good job with that as well. It's just easy to sip on, easy to enjoy at the end of the day. Traverse City, I'm right up there with you. I really enjoyed this pour. It looks like everyone did, whether you were a rye drinker or not. They rated it fairly high. So this is a little bit different rye. This isn't the punch you in the mouth spice type of rye, but it's got very good flavor to it. I think I might leave this out here too for this project. So we'll see. So we've got 2 bottles left up here, and it's and I'm not gonna be bashful on this. This right here, King of Georgia, is probably one of my favorite hidden gems all year long. I absolutely love the King of Georgia, so much so I've bought multiple bottles of it. And this is there was, I think, only 120 bottles of this. And so I really, really enjoyed this one. But coming in number 2 was the King of Georgia. There was one person that did not like the King of Georgia too much. Everybody else was above average. There was a 6.2, an 8, and a 10, which gave it an overall score of a 28.2, which would give you, you're right at a little over a 7, which means that it's above average bourbon. 2 people thought it was an outstanding bourbon. I thought it was an outstanding bourbon too. I really, really enjoyed this one. I take that back. It's not a bourbon. This is a light whiskey. And for those you may know or may not know about what a light whiskey is that in a bourbon you have to bring it in at a certain proof point into when you're going to barrel it. With a light whiskey, you bring it in at a higher proof point. And what that does is it takes out some of the things that could potentially give you a hangover, causes a lot of burn in your chest and things like that, and makes it a smoother sipping whiskey. You generally drink under proof and less likely to have a hangover. And so I'll get in a little bit more into this too. So interesting on this. But let's talk about number 2, some of the things, notes on this. My favorite by far, substantially darker than any other offering, also far more flavor with traditional bourbon sweetness, perhaps a toasted bourbon and or aged substantially. I got this was a 12 plus year great bottle. Absolutely on that. I agree with this. This is actually, it's a 15-year MGP um, light whiskey, and it kind of hit all the bells and whistles for me as well. Um, One person put on there, this is a mixer. That was the person that put it at number 4. It just didn't hit the notes that they prefer in a whiskey. Nothing wrong with that. Just because I like it or my buddy likes it doesn't mean that you have to like it. We all have our preferences on things, but I was like, man, a mixer. Golly, where am I in life? Um, One person really liked they liked the proof point. They really liked the feel in the mouth. There was just something in the finish that they didn't care for, but they still rated it above average. And this thing comes in at 135.6. So it has a very high proof point, but to me it still drinks under that 135.6. But it fills in the categories where I tend to like my proofs. So I thought it was an excellent bottle going in. It was my top bottle going in. But not everyone, one person really didn't like it, but everybody else kind of put it above average, 8 or above, which means, fantastic bottle for them. I agree. So this one coming in, I'm going to put this one over here for a little bit too. So this leaves us to number 1. And this was kind of a surprise for me. Everybody put this above average. This is an Ezra Brooks store pick from Maple Party. And if you'd have told me up front that an Ezra Brooks store pick was gonna beat out some of these bottles over here, I thought you're crazy. But everyone had it above average. It had a 7, a 6.9, a 6, and a 9 and a 9. So on average, everyone thought this was an above average pour. Um, some of the comments, funky, but I like it. Get good charred spice. Uh, Peanut buttery. It's interesting, and I like it, but not sure it's something I'd want to drink every day. So it's something that if you wanted something a little unusual that you haven't maybe had, I was like, okay, this is pretty interesting. But this is a Lux Row product. Lux Row's been doing some nice stuff, and for a bottle that you're 50 to 59, $64 for a bottle. 4 very seasoned bourbon hunters are like, this is all above average, and I really, really like this. Every one of them, it hit something for them. I really like it. The Ezra Brooks, I think this is the one that actually won my Ezra Brooks blind. When I did my Ezra Brooks blind, I had, I think, 4 different Ezra Brooks from 4 different stores. Take that back, 3 different stores, but 2 of them were from the bottle shop. One was Old Juice, one was New Juice, and then there was Maple Party, and there was another store that I got one from. And I believe this one's the one that won the blind in the Ezra Brooks. But overall score, overall winner, the Ezra Brooks from Maple Party Shop won the 12 blinds. So I'll put that over here. So like I said, that's for me, that's really, really cool. So one thing that wasn't very cool was that my phone died at a majority portion of this. So I had done a lot of the video, or at least the last 8 to 10 minutes of the video, and it died. So I'm having to redo that. But what I did want to say is for the 4 that participated in this, thank you very much. Thank you for, stretching yourself, going out there, and giving your feedback on these. I think it's really important that people see just because somebody likes something, you should like it. And just because somebody doesn't like something doesn't mean that you shouldn't at least try it. So I think that was important. Um, so, also on here, I want to talk about, we have the winner for the Bookers. There's 4 Booker samples I wanted to get out. Dave Vogelsang, hope I'm not murdering your last name on that, but congratulations. You were the winner of the Bookers. Reach out to me, echoesineternitybourbon@gmail.com. I wanted to make sure that I got these into your hands. So, you can send me some notes and I'll do all 4 blind. And after I blind them and place them, I'll open up and compare on your notes. And we'll just get to see the difference in the way that we contrast and taste things on there as well. It's not a right or wrong thing. It's how you taste things. Um, so looking forward to that, Dave. Looking forward to getting those in your hands. Get them out to me quick, because I'll be headed out of town for a few days again. Traditionally, we spend some time with my wife's family. Very fortunate at a lake house. All the family gets together for a few days. So I'll be there hanging out with my brother-in-law, who also got me the Jack Daniels 10 and 12. Get to taste some of that while I'm there, and then do some comparison and stuff on that as well. Looking forward to that. Also, the last portion of this video that got cut off was I filled up the rest of the infinity bottle. Now, I've got some without sound or whatever, but I'll share that as well. But it came without sound. It was for the thing, before the phone totally died on me. But I think it's important, as Reagan would say, trust but verify. I'll put the video on the end. I may find some music I can go with it, but it won't have me talking about it at all. But to fill the rest of this bottle up, I finished up the Legion, put that in there. The winner of this, which was the Ezra Brooks store pick, added one of my favorite bottles of the year, which was the King of Georgia. Added 2 extinct bottles, or soon to be extinct, the 13th Colony Sour Mash. They don't make it anymore, 9-year Sour Mash, but a pour of that's in the infinity bottle. The Traverse City Rye, which scored very, very high. I think I got the top 4 or top 3 or 4 that were in there. So Traverse City was 3, so I put the top 3 in there. Got the King of Georgia, Ezra Brooks, and the Traverse City Rye all in here. And on top of that, I threw in some Crown Royal XR, which is also now an extinct bottle. You know, when they're no longer made, and when they're off the shelf and then been consumed, they'll be gone. And to make it a little more interesting for an infinity bottle, threw in a little George T. Stagg and some of the 13th Colony Double Oaked into this bottle. So if you are interested in this bottle, just in the comments, use the word infinity. Must be over 21, continental US. I'll pull a drawing on that probably next Sunday is what I'm looking at. Even though I'll be at the lake house, I should be able to add it to some video. I'll do a drawing that following Sunday, on next Sunday. And if you got infinity, I'll pretty it up some. I'll get the plastic on here, and I'll also get some wax on here and present it up. But just remember, I don't have every bottle or every bourbon or whiskey or rye that I put in here, but I tend to drink pretty good stuff, and I wouldn't start an infinity bottle unless it had some good stuff. And you see all these that have been added to this to fill it up. So it should be fun. So looking forward to that. Um, Almost to 750. We'll have to figure out what we're going to do there as well. I truly appreciate everyone's growing this channel. This isn't me growing this channel. This is you guys growing this channel, that you found something of interest that you like, and maybe have told somebody else. And I truly appreciate that. You know, I appreciate you liking. I appreciate the commenting. I try to get back to all the comments. And I sincerely appreciate you subscribing and help pointing me in the right direction, what I'm doing well, what you'd like to see, things that I'm not doing well. You know, I don't mind constructive criticism. That's the only way you truly grow a lot of times. And I absolutely like when I hit a niche with someone and they really like some of the stuff that I'm talking about as well. Um, I think that this was a fun thing for me to do. I'd like to do something like this in the future, because I just like to see the contrasts that people have between different things. Uh, I hope you all have an amazing day. I know 4th of July week is upcoming. If you're traveling, I hope you have some safe travels and some excellent times with your family. Know someone in particular who's got a baby coming along. Definitely keep a prayer out that for him and his fiance, and looking forward to that as well. Y'all having a great day. Thank you.